I do want to start with the issue of Venezuela and the president's decision to withdraw support from the Maduro regime. Is that something that you support?
I do support that. Under the Venezuelan Constitution, President Maduro has lost all legitimacy, and then it falls on the National Council for the acting or president until free elections can be held.
And there's so many different moving parts to the situation in Venezuela. One of it is the Maduro regime's relationship with Russia, with Iran, and also with certain Chinese telecommunications firms like ZTE. The president earlier this week meeting with the Chinese delegation on the issue of trade. What would you like to see the president accomplish between the U.S. and China on these trade talks?
Well, first, I think the president has set up the trade agenda in a way that has been pretty detrimental. His imposition of tariffs, first against our closest allies, Canada and other countries, and then the way that he handled setting up the conversations with China. We lost the help of our trading partners. We have legitimate concerns about China, but they should have been raised in conjunction with our other trading partners rather than the way the president did it. As a result, these tariffs have had a very detrimental impact on our economy. So what I want to see now is to calm things down. Let's get into significant trade talks, and let's see whether we can't work out a way to get a level playing field with our negotiations with China.
Senator, you're one of the most senior Democrats on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. I was struck by your statement earlier today criticizing the president's decision to withdraw from the Russia-U.S. nuclear arms treaty. Explain why that you believe that's the wrong decision.
I was extremely disappointed by what the president did. Make no mistake about it, Russia is in violation of the INF treaty. But the treaty is an important part of our arms control and leadership globally on reducing the threat of nuclear confrontation. We needed to challenge Russia within the context of the INF, not withdraw from the INF. Now there's a process of 6 months in which hopefully the negotiations between Russia and the United States will result in the treaty remaining in effect. But the way the president goes about negotiating really raises, I think, the temperature much more than it should be.
Yeah, you know, and all of this comes just a few days before the president's State of the Union address. You delivered the Democratic weekly address for this week. And in terms of the message that you hope the president strikes, the tone the president strikes on Tuesday night, what are you going to be looking for?
Well, I'm always somewhat surprised by what the president does through his tweets, etc. We would like to see the president give a conciliatory tone. First, with in regards to border security and the 35-day record shutdown of the federal government. It'd be nice if the president would encourage a bipartisan agreement between the Democrats and Republicans on border security. Our conference committee is heading in that direction, rather than trying to blow up those discussions. It'd be nice if the president would really reach out to us and say, look, let's work together, rather than having these confrontations as we've seen from this White House.
And you know, before the State of the Union, though, America is going to do another celebration, the Super Bowl, on Sunday. And I know that you actually were deeply involved with the Baltimore Ravens in working with them as the president really politicized the league, really tweeted against his support of players kneeling. Talk to me about your relationship with the Baltimore Ravens and how that all came about.
Well, Kevin, this was really a wonderful opportunity. I met with a lot of the players. I was surprised because I thought I was meeting with a couple, and when I got there must have been about 10 or 12 of the players that wanted to meet with me. They wanted to get involved in our political system. They were very upset by our criminal justice system. They thought it was very discriminatory. They had personal examples in their families where they thought people were not treated fairly, and they wanted to know how they could get involved and make a difference. And we had a great conversation about the fact that our football players have a great deal of identification in the public, and they can use that to bring about change in our system. So I encourage them to get involved with other players, to get involved in communication with their members of Congress. And as you know, this session we did change the sentencing guidelines, and I think the NFL players from Baltimore had an impact. So I was very pleased to see them get involved in our political system. I think it made a difference.
Let me follow up on that. What can businesses learn? Because essentially NFL teams are regional organizations and these players are employees of a massive, massive business. What can businesses learn? What can Wall Street companies learn by how the Ravens responded to the politicization of football and a hot button issue? What can businesses learn from that?
Well, quite frankly, the owners, the management encouraged the players to meet with me to see how they could have an impact in trying to change things through getting involved in our political system. I, of course, encouraged all of them to vote. What the management did is made arrangements to make sure that everyone was registered to vote. I encouraged them to get involved with candidates if they believed in those candidates. Clearly, an NFL player can have an incredible impact in our community just by getting involved in the traditional political ways. And I think that was the message, rather than looking at the type of confrontational messaging we've seen. Get involved in the mainstream politics, and let's see if you can bring about change.